Right. I think they don't have the self motivation, and I think more than that, like people ask me, like, how do you stay motivated? Like that's a big question. Well, how do you stay motivated? And what I say is, what's your vision? There's a verse that says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." And if you think about that, when you don't have a solid vision for your life or for your fitness goals, you're like a leaf blowing on the wind. Whatever looks cool. You watch Ido Portal online and he's doing flips. I want to learn the flip. So you buy a program on learning the flip. And then you watch someone do CrossFit. I want to do CrossFit. And then you buy a program on CrossFit. And you never achieve anything. And so, yeah. So, I mean, I think we need to get a clear vision for our lives, understand the why behind it. Like, why do I want this? And then solidify that vision and incrementally move forward. I still remember in personal training class, there was this video that we watched, and it was of this woman that was about 150 pounds overweight. And what she did is she ended up losing all the weight and became extremely fit. But how she did it was by the most minute incremental changes that you could ever believe possible. And she started off the first week of her transformation. All she did was set her alarm for the time that she wanted to go to the gym. And her alarm went off, and then she turned it off. Like, that's it. That's all she did.
Just went back to bed?
And then just went back to bed, right? 7 days, for 7 full days. And then for the next week, what she did is actually, when the alarm went off, she got up and pulled her workout clothes out of the drawer, then put them back in the drawer and went back to bed. It's like, okay, that's all she did for 2 weeks. And then for the third week is actually when she put her clothes on. You think, oh my gosh, this is aggravatingly slow. But only the fourth week is finally when she actually put her clothes on and she drove to the gym, didn't get out of her car, said, check, I made my goal. And then she went back home and went back to bed or something. And at the end of the fourth week, the beginning of the second month of her transformation is the first time that she actually went into the gym and did something. So she had 30 days where she built this habit, the power of a habit. How do you stay motivated? You don't need to stay motivated. You need to create a habit. You need to create small, very small steps. And that's why I say that the hacking thing, and we have ADD because we don't allow ourselves to create a habit in our lives. How do I get results? Well, get rid of your ADD and create a habit. Very small habit. Be patient and stick to one plan at a time, and eventually it'll yield results. And over the course of the 9 months or whatever her plan was, she ended up losing the 150 pounds because she started to enjoy it. She got this habit, and we're creatures of habit. And you go to the gym every single day, and your goal doesn't need to be to go to the gym every day for the first time that you set your goal. It can be set out your clothes at the time, set your alarm for 6 o'clock, whatever it may be, turn it off, and then go back to bed for a week straight. Try that as a goal, and you'll start to build some confidence, and that accomplishment will start to snowball, and eventually you'll have your results.
Boom goes the Todd Dynamite. I love that, man. I just gotta, I gotta give you some props for that. I don't know if you're familiar with my 27 Body Transformation Habits book, but it's like, it's the 27 habits I've identified that are super foundational when it comes to reshaping the way you think about your fitness. And I don't even tell people what to do for their workouts or what to eat. I just say, like, okay, this week you're going to focus on eating more vegetables. Next week you're going to focus on drinking more water. Like simple stuff. You're going to do some sort of exercise for 20 minutes, 3 days a week, and it's amazing how powerful starting someone out smaller is than trying to take your whole program and dump it on them. Because I used to do that, man. I used to meet people and I'd give them this 60-page nutrition manual, and I'd bring them in. Okay, now you got to come to classes 3 days a week. You got to do this. You got to do blah, 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 blah. And what would happen? They'd go home and they'd forget about it all, and they'd be sitting there eating their pizza, watching their movie, because they were overwhelmed with the amount of information I was giving. And it wasn't until I started saying, okay, don't worry about that. Just drink more water for a week. That's when we started seeing legitimate and lasting changes in people, because they weren't overwhelmed. All they had was just one piece of homework. So I love how you mentioned that, man. That was great.
I remember also in personal training class, we talked about nutrition, and this was one of the most mind-blowing exercises that I did in this class. And our personal training instructors got out the board, the chalkboard or the wipe off board, and she said, "Let's name all the reasons that we eat." All the reasons that you eat, and we started naming off them. Well, we eat for nutrition, our body needs it. Well, we eat socially, as gatherings. We eat culturally, my family I'm Lithuanian, that's why my name is so weird. It's like kugelis, vinaigrettes, like all these different things. Okay, well, we eat culturally. And we named off like literally 20, 23 reasons that we eat. And so if you think about, okay, why people are overweight, and you say, here's this nutrition program that's going to help. It's not going to help, and the reason is because they have 23 or 24 reasons that have been impounded into them for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of their life. They're a train going in the complete opposite direction. You say, here's the paleo diet. That'll work perfect for you. Cut out all your carbs, meat, veggies, nuts, seeds, etc. Lots of water. And then, they may try it, but that train is going, that's a locomotive going in one direction. So just like you said, eat a little bit more vegetables, for, 1 week, 2 weeks. That's all. And so it's just like you said, these tiny incremental changes, and all of a sudden, man, those reasons for why we eat will change. And over time, the reason of fueling our body correctly will start to overcome. I still remember the first time where I got into a social gathering and I looked at like cake and candy and whatnot. And I didn't see it as food anymore. I saw it as like, that's not food. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not food. And before, I was, growing up, I was like any kid, a sugaraholic and candy fiend.
Right.
But over time, that mindset shifts, and eventually you'll see something not as food. And no, I don't think I can eat that. And I'm not to say in social gatherings, you can't have a beer or some cake for celebrating someone's birthday, but you'll see things differently. But I agree that over time, this locomotive needs to change incrementally, and giving someone the perfect program. If they were to follow that, then yeah, they might get results, faster than anything. But the reality is we live in a world where there are 20 some odd reasons of why we eat, and forcing them to follow a specific diet when that goes against the reasons that they eat in the first place is just not gonna work.
Yeah, man, you got to change their core beliefs and their values before they'll habitually do things. It's almost like, for your train analogy, you have to gradually push the brakes and get them to come to a full stop before you can reverse them the other direction. And you do that by taking those little small baby steps forward. It's so powerful. Well, Todd, we're almost out of time, man. I always ask people one thing as my last and final question. You're successful with your body weight training. You've recently put together this body weight bundle sale, which is just blowing up across the fitness internet. I'll put a link below the show so people can check that out. What's your secret to success, my man?
Secrets to success. I'll go back to vision, honestly. Having a strong enough why. I think there was a quote that said, if you give me a strong enough why, I can move the world, or something. Mm-hmm. Or I think maybe the quote is related to lever. Having a long enough lever, you can move the world. But your lever is your why. Like, why are you doing something? And I think people get in this mindset where they see someone on the internet and they want to look like them. Oh, okay, I want to look like them, and they start to follow their program. But I'm still discovering my why to a deeper level. But once you have a strong enough why, it will wake you up at 4 a.m. to train, or to work on your business, or to do whatever, play a violin. It'll keep you up at night. Like, if you are following your why and the reason that you're put here, your purpose, then there's nothing that can stop you. Like, and so, for me, it's serving people, and helping them in the arena of bodyweight exercises, especially helping men get bigger using bodyweight exercises, is my why. And it's super inspiring to me, because I started off, I was as skinny as someone could be, and then realizing that I didn't need to go to a gym to build some mass, and I could use my own body and I could have this freedom where you could travel, you could work out outside, and start to build and keep building muscle. That's I think for me that's my passion. And so for anyone to become successful, they need to have a strong enough why.
That's fantastic, man. I completely agree. That why is so important. Well, Todd, again, man, thank you so much for your time today. This has been a really fun call. I enjoyed it.
Awesome, Tyler. Yeah, I've had a great time too.